Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a new recording of Shostakovich's ever so jolly Symphony Number 14, 11 poems about death. Oh, what a joy. You know, one of the interesting things about this is that it follows on the 13th Symphony, not just numerically, but musically. You know, if you listen to the opening of the third movement of the Babi Yar Symphony, da 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 da. Okay, I had to go up an octave. That's the opening of this. You know, that same wavering symphony. It actually even may be a ghostly transformation of the theme from the finale of the awful 12th Symphony. Do 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 do. You know, I mean, it's all part of it. Seems the same stream of consciousness. What was perhaps happy and optimistic in the finale of the 12th becomes ghostly and desolate in Babi Yar, and then a symbol of death in the 14th Symphony. Quite marvelous, actually. It's a brilliant work. And, you know, it fascinates me that this is on the Alpha label, featuring Matthias Goerne, baritone, and Asmin Grigorian, soprano, with the Orchestra Philharmonic de Radio France under Mikko, Franck. Now, Alpha seems to be the Shostakovich 14th label because they already have a very good performance, actually, with Theodor Karensis before he became Theodor Karensis. You know, back in the days when he was actually like playing music quasi-normally. Anyway, this version is okay. It isn't great. It's not great. There are no really bad performances of this symphony. Well, maybe Bernstein's is really not very good. But, you know, well, the problems are really very straightforward and easy to catalog. First of all, there's Matthias Goerne. He's a baritone. He's not a bass. It's written for a bass. You got to have the low notes. You've really got to have the low notes. I mean, you know, the very opening, which is that just that wandering violin line with the you know, dead things are standing around underneath corpses, and you know, it's dark. It has to be dark, and the contrast between soprano and the baritone has to be really telling. At the very that song, Madame Look, Madame Posmotritia, you've got to have resonance in the low notes. He just doesn't have the low notes. I mean, you know, the voice sort of evaporates the lower he gets, and that's a real problem. I mean, he tries. He can sing most of it, but I mean, it's admirable that they all sing it in Russian. Thank God, not those awful translations into the original European languages of the original poems. That was a terrible idea, because the music really does depend on the sound of Russian. The soprano, Asmin Grigorian, she's quite good. She really is. She has the right voice for the part. She has a responsive sort of take on the text. I like the fact that in the song I just mentioned, Madame Look, when she sings how she laughs. You know, she doesn't sound like she's sneezing. She actually sings it, which is really, really good. She's beautiful in Lorelei and some of the other songs. And Three Lilies, Three Lily, Three Lily, Lily, Tree. I mean, you know, she's got it. No question about it. He doesn't. Now, as for Mikko Franck, well, he's a very good conductor. I like the fact that he keeps the music flowing, you know, one song or one bit into the other, because Shostakovich actually sort of groups them into like quasi movements, and you want to have a certain continuity of line. On the other hand, in Malagueña, the second song, I mean, he really needs to be faster, you know, just more frantic. You know, in the Sultan of what's his name's response to the Kazakh of whatever you call it. I mean, let me tell you what it's called, because there's no way I remember the titles of some of these things. Let's see. The response of the Zaporozhye Cossack to the Sultan of Constantinople. Yeah, that's where, you know, that has to really have spite and bile. And Goerne doesn't have the weight, and Franck doesn't underline it heavily enough. And oh, Delvig, such a beautiful, beautiful song. I mean, they're nicely done. The Death of the Poet could be a little bit darker and more telling. It just doesn't have the same gut-wrenching impact. Well, it's not fair, really, because just about all the performances have to compete with Rostropovich, with Vishnevskaya and Mark Reshetin, who did the premiere, or one of the premieres. There were actually several. And it's so much more compelling and desperate and emotionally gripping. This is dutiful. It's well played. It's well sung. It's thoughtful. You can't say that they're not making a serious effort to realize the musical expression, but it's just that they don't go far enough, and Goerne can't, and Franck should, but maybe he's wise in adopting tempos that don't push Goerne to the point beyond which his voice naturally wants to go. And I would like to hear Asmin Grigorian do some other things, because I liked her. I thought she was a smart and passionate singer who really is the star of the show, at least as far as this recording goes. Now, the 5 fragments, which are the coupling, Opus 42, are just that. 5 little bits of fluff. Well, they're fluff. I mean, they're not necessarily like fluff as in the can is fluff. I mean, they're not happy, but they're just little bits of chips off the master's workbench that are, nice to have, but they don't make or break the deal. So that's it. You can do better in the 14th Symphony. You don't need this, I don't think. Keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.